Okay, hold on to your hats because this is going to get a little bit controversial. I'm sick of black supremacy in music. See, I hear this a lot from people, white people and black people alike, that this whole phenomenon of the theft of black music. Led Zeppelin stole black music, Bob Dylan stole black music, the Beatles, the Stones, everyone stole black music. No, they did new things with it. They made it better. Okay, black people developed blues, yes. But tell me this. Where did they get the guitars? Nothing resembling a blues guitar ever came out of Africa, and yet you don't hear anyone going, "Damn that Jimi Hendrix, he couldn't come up with any instruments of his own, so he stole one from the white man." Blah, blah, blah. And what language were they using to develop blues? Yeah, English. And again, no one's going, "Damn that Robert Johnson, he was a habitual thief with the Caucasian iambic pentameter." No, made it better. Hip-hop. A black invention. Look, English lends itself very well to rhythm and rhyme because it contains 500,000 words, very few of which are of African origin. Ancient Africans may well have been the first people to put poetry to music, largely because they were the first people, but the development of hip-hop owes quite a lot to the discovery of electricity. And again, no one's going, "Damn those crafty Africans, they stole our idea for recording and playing back sound." No one's saying any of these things, except, of course, for racists. If you think the only difference between innovation and theft is race, then you are a racist. In the arts, there is practically no such thing as invention. It's emergent, it's self-organising, it's passed from generation to generation, from culture to culture. It's nothing to do with race. Above all, you don't get to discriminate against me because my great-grandparents might have discriminated against yours. It's nothing to do with me, and it's nothing to do with you. Either invent a time machine or get over it. Martin Luther King didn't have a dream in which his little children could judge others by the colour of their skin. This is a largely unrecognised form of prejudice. Grudge racism. You know, Muhammad Ali type racism. That guy was a joke. Someone please tell me what's so inspiring about Muhammad Ali. Oh, a confident boxer. Stop the presses. A boxer who's up himself. How unprecedented. I hate the white man for what he did to my people, so I'm going to be a Muslim. You might want to do a dab or two of research into a little thing called the Trans-Saharan Middle Eastern slave trade, Mr. Muhammad, if that is in fact your real name. They may not have taken you overseas to work on an open farmland in exchange for food and shelter, but they did take millions of your women folk and locked them in dungeons in the desert to beat them and fuck them in exchange for their children. But I don't suppose that matters to you, does it, laughing boy? Because they're just women. Tell you what, if you're so pretty, why don't you hang a fucking garbage bag over your face? Dick. Yes, Europeans enslaved Africans, but so did Middle Easterns. And guess what? So did Africans. Everyone enslaved everyone. But at least Christians and Muslims had the excuse that they were reading these filthy, amoral books. They thought God was telling them to keep slaves. What was your excuse, Africa? Same as everyone else's at the end of the day. It was partly religious, maybe fractionally racist, but almost entirely down to status. Rich people enslaved poor people, wherever they found them and regardless of their race. It just so happens that throughout history, Europeans were the richest because they, moved out of the fucking desert. In all seriousness, though, we've done well to sort of diminish racism in the last 50 years. Well, grudge racism is still alive and well, getting stronger by the day. But the old-fashioned form of racism, alienation racism, has become sort of diluted, seemingly a lot less harmful on the surface. You still see it a lot in stand-up comedy. In just about every African-American comedian you've ever seen.
white people be like this, black people be like this.
Which is racist. I'm not particularly offended by it, but it is. It's clearly racist. Because I've been doing the London stand-up scene for a while now, and I've noticed that almost without exception, just about every stand-up comedian not of European descent does a routine partially, if not entirely, to do with their race or their upbringing. And it's London in the 21st century. It's the most culturally diverse city in the history of the world. It's not like we're gawping at them going, "Whoa, tell us about your strange world, oh painted one." We don't. It's not an issue unless you make it one. Do white people do this in other countries? Have any of you been to like comedy clubs in like Asia or Africa? Do white people come on and reel off these patronising descriptions of what life is like in a white family? Honestly, I don't know. It's a genuine question. It'd be interesting to find out. There seems to be something sinister about it. It's self-racism. And self-racism is still racism. It's still divisive, and I don't think it's helpful. The differences between races are almost entirely cultural. You don't have strict parents because you're Asian. You have strict parents because you're from a densely populated, competitive culture. Lots of us are. Africans aren't genetically predisposed to being streetwise. That's just what happens if you're descended from economically developing communities. Again, lots of us are. It's very important that you don't confuse race with culture, past with present, there with here. What matters is where you are now, what you're doing now with the time and place that you occupy. And that never has anything to do with race. Unless you are a racist.